Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, Oxford Elementary supports student fighting for life. A third microbrewery looks to open in the village, and a firefighter bids farewell to Addison Township Fire Department.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Halloween is almost here. Tune up your witch's broom and smile because there's a spooky new event coming in downtown Oxford. Friday, October 26th is Witches' Night Out. Residents are invited to dress up as witches and mingle in Centennial Park. Photos for the best costume will be posted on social media, and you, the public, will pick the winner.
OCTV received a total of 5 nominations for Excellence Awards for this year's Philo Festival. 1 for Excellence in Directing for the Lone Ranger Parade, 2 for Editing in the Tough Mudder and our Community Access programs. The same program is nominated for an Excellence in a Series, and another, Our Community Access, is nominated for Community Activism. Finalist awards are presented at the annual Philo Festival of Media Arts this year in Alliance, Ohio.
Former Assistant Fire Chief John Beach says goodbye to Addison Township's fire department after nearly 20 years of service to the township. Beach said he never had a goal to become a career firefighter, but after starting as a volunteer in 1999, he found he enjoyed the job and friendships that came with it. Thank you, John, for your dedicated service to the community.
Make-A-Wish has made a dream come true for local resident Chloe Booth, who suffers from cerebral palsy and seizures. After submitting her wish to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, her family was given a trip to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. The cherry on top, the trip happens to fall on twins Chloe and Lily's 16th birthday. Congratulations and happy birthday, girls.
If all goes well as planned, a third microbrewery is looking to open in Oxford. Addison Township residents Ben Chernerle and Morgan Mathis are seeking local and state approvals to open One Drop Brewing Company. The business would be inside a nearly 4,000 square foot building on Oakdale Drive, just east of M24.
It's tough being the new kid in school, and even tougher when a medical condition makes you stand out in the classroom. That's why students at the Oxford Elementary School have been working extra hard to make 5th grader Gavin Lowry feel welcome. Students are raising awareness and funds to help fight the mitochondrial disease Lowry was born with. Congratulations, students.
A 28-year-old Oxford man is facing criminal charges after allegedly pulling out a handgun during an encounter with another driver during a traffic accident on September 16th. Nicholas Coleman Dunn was charged with carrying a concealed weapon without a license and brandishing it. He's currently free on bond, which is set at $500. Bad boy.
That's not necessary. Let's talk about something fun.
Yes, let's do that.
We'll talk about those Philo Awards, but I want to talk a little bit about OCTV too. Our PEG fees are being threatened by a bill that's in Congress right now, in the state legislature.
You want to explain what PEG fees are?
Okay, PEG fees are public, educational, and government funds. We get 2% of the total income that Charter, Spectrum, AT&T get in revenues each year. So we get a certain portion of that, which adds up to a different amount for each community that contributes. But anyhow, those PEG fees are being threatened because the big cable providers want to say that they're giving us our television station as an in-kind service for them using our rights away in the community. Normally, for the last 40 years, I heard this morning, they have been paying communities for those rights of way. Well, now Congress is looking at, gee, that's a good idea, in-kind services, which means, in essence, we will disappear. OCTV will disappear. And For the first time ever, we were nominated for 5 different programming awards this year. We've gotten a few in the past. We got one for Connie's Kitchen, one for our community access, and one for My Life with John Ochins. So in the past 4 years, we've gotten 3 awards. This year we've nominated for 5, which is really great. I'm happy to promote the Lone Ranger Parade, because that's a huge event.
We have a lot of creative people here, I think.
We sure do.
Matter of fact, some of the creative people have gone on to other major stations.
Yeah.
So, and congratulations to them.
And
we don't want to lose any of the programming for you folks
That's
out there,
right.
so we have to push hard for the PEG fees.
Right. We're here to promote this community, and and the businesses in this community. The free advertising that they've gotten. That's what we're here for. So.
Right.
If any of you feel like writing your representative and saying you're not for that, it's called Act 637. And so if you want to write in the next couple days, please do, because it's Thursday that they're voting on it.
Right. If you don't want us to become Houdini and disappear,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you support us here, and if you like our programming too. And
Yeah.
good idea.
I don't want to disappear.
Nope.
So that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us on our website, occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course your regular channels, Spectrum, Channel 191, and AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV School News with Alexis Ware. Also, Cody Wright with the Sports Report. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Do you love your community? So do we. Tune in our community access Monday through Friday, 9:30 and 1, and again at 7, Saturday at 9:30 and again at 7:30, and Sunday at 7. From new businesses to special events and everything in between, join the station that cares about our community.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, Neanderthals could hold objects between finger and thumb, just like we would hold a pen, because their hands were more nimble than anyone thought. The findings help explain the many skillful tasks Neanderthals have been shown to have performed, like making tools, painting on cave walls, carving patterns onto bird bones, and threading seashells onto string to make jewelry. These activities were hard to explain if they were clumsy. Neanderthal hand bones were much chunkier than ours, implying a lack of fine control. Previous studies of the bones mostly suggested Neanderthals could not perform a precision grip with finger and thumb, and instead had to use a power grip using their whole fist the way small children sometimes hold crayons. To find out how they used their hands, Katarina Habarti of the University of Tübingen and her colleagues studied entheses, the points on the bones where muscles were attached. Each enthesis is a raised area of bone. To the touch, it feels like a small bump on the surface of the bone, says Habarti. Her team has developed a 3D scanning method that accurately measures their surface area. A precision grip uses a different set of muscles to a power grip, and those muscles that get used more develop larger entheses. Habarti's team previously showed this by studying modern humans who had worked different jobs. The team examined the hand entheses of 6 Neanderthals and 6 early modern humans. The Neanderthals spent most of their time using precision grips, while the early modern humans used both precision and power grips. Our study reconciles the archaeological and anatomical fossil evidence, says Habarti. It was previously proposed that Neanderthals relied on force for their manual activities, but this perception was at odds with mounting archaeological evidence for sophisticated cultural behavior of Neanderthals. The fact that Neanderthals only used precision grips suggests the nature of their activities did not substantially differ across individuals, said Habarti. While each Neanderthal probably performed a mix of tasks, these tasks were likely similar. In contrast, the modern humans seem to have a division of labor. The sample comprised some individuals with habitual precision grips and some with habitual power grips. We keep learning. And at sea, languid basking sharks that eat zooplankton jump out of the water or breach, a behavior more normally seen in smaller great white sharks to capture seals. Now we know more about how they do it despite their size. Jonathan Houghton at the Queen's University in Belfast and his colleagues monitored breaching basking sharks. They estimate the sharks reach 18 kilometers per hour to breach, the same as great whites. That means an 8-meter-long basking shark would use 45 to 51 kilocalories, that is, to breach more than a great white. But because the basking sharks are almost twice as big as great whites, the energy used per kilogram of body weight is similar. The analysis may reveal more details about how basking sharks breach, but why they do it is still unknown. In our last story, some patches of Arctic permafrost are leaking acids as they melt. The dribble of acid is destroying rocks and releasing more carbon dioxide into the air, but it isn't clear how much. Permafrost is soil and sand that normally remains frozen. Climatologists have warned for years that Arctic permafrost is thawing because of climate change. This will transform the landscape and release carbon that is locked away in the permafrost in the form of CO2 and methane, adding to the greenhouse effect. Now it seems that some regions of the Arctic might release more CO2 than expected. Scott Zolkos at the University of Alberta and his colleagues studied permafrost in the western Canadian Arctic, which is distinct from that in other areas. The permafrost is more ice-rich and more sediment-rich, says Zolkos, so when that permafrost thaws, the material it exposes is different. The team analyzed samples of water from sites upstream and downstream of thawing permafrost patches. The runoff water contains significant amounts of sulfuric acid, which forms when sulfide minerals were exposed by permafrost melt. The sulfuric acid then began reacting with the limestone rocks, releasing CO2. That doesn't happen in other regions, says Zolkos, because other permafrost doesn't contain enough sulfide minerals. Instead, carbonic acid forms when CO2 dissolves in the meltwater. This acid also destroys limestone, but the reaction consumes rather than releases CO2. So what will happen next depends on which parts of the Arctic melt first, and I don't want to find out. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hello everyone and welcome back to School News. I'm Alexis Ware. This week in School News, the board office received a new member, Miss Anita Kanja, Executive Director of Elementary Instruction. Let's take a look at her journey. We're here with Anita Kanja, Director of Elementary Instruction. Anita, tell us an overall description of your job.
Okay, that's probably not going to be short, but I'll try to keep it short. So first and foremost, my job is to really help facilitate the teaching and learning at the elementary level and really focus on Tier 1 instruction, meaning what do all of our kids have access to, and making sure that that's high quality. And we'll work directly with the principals as well, work with a little bit of budgeting and funding to make sure that our elementaries are fully operational the best they can be.
Great. And, you know, obviously the job is a very important job, but you're new to the district, so let's talk about you for a little while. First of all, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
To the district. So
welcome to you too.
You're not the only one. So where'd you come from? Like, are you from, I heard Walled Lake, so is that?
That's true.
What did you do in Walled Lake?
So I was in Walled Lake schools for 17 years, and I taught third, fourth, and fifth grade for 10 years, and then I was an elementary principal for 7 years.
Okay, so you're well versed in the education of grade level students.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. And what made you decide to go a step further than being a teacher and then a principal to now the position that you're at?
That's a great question. I actually talked about that this morning with a couple of the elementary staffs.
Okay.
To me, it's about influence and how do you help more kids.
Okay.
And so even though I'm further removed from kids, as you leave the classroom and you're a principal and then now in this role, it's how can I help influence quality and rigor for many more kids than like your class of 25 or your school of 500. Now it's like hundreds of kids.
That's a great way to look at it. Do you ever miss the actual physical interaction between them?
Absolutely. Every day, because that's where the heart of the work is, and I'm a huge connector. So yes, very much.
Okay. Well, how are you liking your position thus far at Oxford?
I'm loving it. I'm learning a lot. It's definitely humbling because there's a lot I don't know
Yes.
and a lot for me to learn. But everybody's been really helpful, and just our team here and just all over so far have been really helping me feel welcomed and teaching me too.
Can you tell us anything thus far that you kind of recognize that grade level students need in the classrooms, or anything that you're implicating into the classroom?
It's a little early right now, just as we're getting started with our assessments
fourth
and
week of school.
and visiting schools and trying to get to know everybody. One thing that's kind of popped up already just from conversations is a need for being a little more diagnostic with math instruction, and so we'll be starting a book study soon
Math
for
is
that.
certainly a hard subject.
It can also be really fun.
It is really
It's-
fun.
yes.
Fractions are my favorite.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah, it can be really fun. So, but I think it is a little bit of a more challenging area sometimes for teachers to work with. It's not as natural as reading and writing,
Right.
and so using the book study to help with that.
Great, okay. And when can we expect to see this book study actually take place inside the classroom?
Well, the book study will be for teachers,
Yeah,
and
okay.
so it will start in October, and hopefully some of the implications of the study or what they learn can be applied right away. That's the
Great.
goal, is that it's easy enough to be able to apply right away.
Great, that's great
Yeah.
information. Awesome. All right. Is there anything else new coming to like the elementary schools or anything like that? New to the curriculum, maybe?
Right now, we've updated our math curriculum to the latest edition. We're
Okay.
working on updating the science kits also to reflect the next generation science standards. So nothing like super new, really more revisions that we're trying to work through and hopefully not change too much. Yeah.
As you can see, there's a lot of academic changes happening as the school year progresses. Remember to tune in daily on AT&T Channel 99 and Spectrum 191. That's all for school news this week. Next is Cody Wright.
What's happening, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright back once again for this week's Sports Report. It's been a great fall season so far, I'd say. This week we have some scores to go over, not a whole lot. We got boys football who had a tough week, but overall still have been having a very successful season. Also boys soccer and girls swim and dive, so let's just dive in and take a look. So first off, the football team took on Rochester Adams, varsity at home Friday night. It was a very tough game. We still showed some strong points, but as far as the scoreboard goes, we fell to a final of 17-8. The night before, the freshman team took on Adams on the road. Adams has a good football program. There's no doubt about that. The freshmen also fell scoreless, 14-0. Still, this football program we have this year shows promise, and our games this season have fell to the majority on our side, and that's no mistake. We definitely have some great football ahead of us. Like I said, the boys soccer team also played this week, both varsity and JV, taking on Brandon at home. Varsity not finding their feet or the net, falling scoreless to a final score of 2-0. Although JV was a different story, that match ended with the tables turned. Final score goes to us, 2-0. And last but certainly not least, the girls swim and dive had a meet against North Farmington here at home back on the 13th. I don't know how this one slipped through the cracks, but anyhow, it was a successful night for our girls, and they took the win to a final score of 119-66. Well, folks, that's all for this week's report. For any more info on these events and others, go to oxfordathletics.org. Plenty of scores, schedules, and game breakdowns all right there at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at occtv.org. All of our coverage of these events can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. Once again, that is occtv.org. And that's going to wrap it up. Remember to mark your calendar and get yourself out to some of these fall events. It's a great atmosphere and a good way to show your support to our athletes. Anyhow, we hope to see you there. Until next time, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company says it expects tariffs on steel and aluminum to cut profits by $1 billion by the end of next year. If so, that translates to $1,000 that President Donald Trump's trade war has taken from each Ford hourly worker, many of whom voted for Trump on the belief that he would help their economic security. The math is pretty simple. For each $1 million in North American profit that Ford posts each year, the average worker gets a $1 bonus the following spring, according to a formula written into the UAW's contract. In 2017, Ford earned $7.5 billion in North America, which resulted in $7,500 profit-sharing checks for its 54,000 UAW hourly workers. So, if Ford earns $1 billion less in North America, where it's now paying higher commodity costs as a result of the tariffs, even though it already buys 95% of its steel from within the U.S., its profit-sharing payouts would drop by $1,000. The tariffs are designed to make more companies buy commodities such as steel from domestic sources, which Ford already does, yet its workers are going to earn less than they would have otherwise. The tariffs have caused prices for steel and other materials to rise no matter where they're made. Trump's tariffs have affected Ford in other ways, too. The company in August canceled a plan to import the Focus active wagon from China, saying it no longer made sense. Most UAW members who bristle any time automakers use non-union labor to build vehicles and bring them into the U.S., no doubt were happy about that. But when it comes time to vote this November and in the 2020 presidential election, Ford workers may go to the polls knowing that Trump's tariffs have directly hit them somewhere that really hurts their paycheck. And our next story from Chevrolet. Chevrolet is pricing the resurrected 2019 Blazer just under the Ford Edge and Nissan Murano as the brand diversifies its crossover lineup. The new two-row midsize Blazer slotted between Chevrolet's compact Equinox and large Traverse crossovers is scheduled to go on sale in January and will start at $29,995, including shipping, Ford said in a statement on September 25th. That's slightly less than the Edge, which starts at $30,990, and for the 2019 base model, that includes shipping, and the Murano, which starts at $31,775 for the 2018 base model. The revived nameplate will come in 4 trim levels, L, Blazer, RS, and Premier. Pricing for higher trim levels was not released. The RS trim level adds blacked-out features, including a hexagon black mesh with an RS badge for a street-inspired look, Chevy said, while the Premier trim adds a black grille with chrome accents for a more upscale appearance. The vehicle offers a diverse trim range and a unique design cues intended to distinguish each of the Blazer's identity, Chevy said in a statement. A 2.5-liter 193 horsepower engine and a 9-speed transmission is standard. The 3.6-liter V6 engine is also offered that produces 305 horsepower and is standard on the RS and Premier models. The Blazer's design offers customers a crossover that can exceed their needs, matching their unique personality, Steve Majoro, Chevrolet Marketing Director for Cars and Crossovers, said in a statement. Blazer sets a new design language for Chevrolet's crossover family and extends our momentum into the industry's fastest-growing segment, he says. And on the recall front at Nissan North America is recalling over 215,000 vehicles in the U.S. over an anti-lock brake pump defect that may increase the risk of a fire. The recall affects certain 2015 to 2017 Nissan Muranos, 2016 to 2017 Nissan Maximas, 2017 to 2018 Nissan Pathfinders, and 2017 Infiniti QX60s, according to the Safety Recall Report. The automaker is advising owners to park their vehicles outdoors and away from other vehicles or structures. The recall covers another 19,761 vehicles in Canada. The seal on the anti-lock brake pump may leak brake fluid onto the circuit board, which could create an electrical short and in rare cases may lead to a fire, so the report says. If that occurs, an ABS warning lamp will continuously illuminate on the instrument panel to warn the driver, according to the report. Dealerships will inspect the serial number of the ABS actuator on affected vehicles, and if it falls, that is, within a specified range, they will replace the brake pump, according to the report. No deaths or injuries linked to the recall have been reported, according to the automaker. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.
Welcome to Oxford Community Television. We are proud that our 4 communities continue to choose local programming, local news, sports, community issues, familiar faces, celebrations, and commitment to each other. Enjoy our examples of what we provide to our communities.
We are back at Connie's Kitchen. Terry decided to hang around.
Yeah, well, why not?
Look out for brand new episodes of Oxford History Today with your host, Jim Latola. Join us as we uncover the magnificent history of Oxford and Northeast Oakland County.
On Schooling Around, we don't just school around. We get with everyone from the superintendent to the kids to find out what's new in Oxford schools. Schooling Around, only on OCTV.
Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those people that make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
Hello and welcome to Media Maniacs Extreme. I'm Russell Courier.
I'm Ashley Point. Hi, guys.
Welcome to the 5th annual Lone Ranger Festival. I'm Terry Stiles from OCTV.
And I am Ron Wright.